Hey, what's up, guys? Barry B. Benson 2 here, back again with another video. I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've ever added the 2 in on my intro. Whatever. Today's video, we are going to be talking about the Fanboy and Chum Chum Iceberg. Now, I'd just like to real quick mention that the 3 middle layers of the iceberg only have 1 entry on each of them. So I'm going to only count the iceberg as having 3 entries, even though it has 5, But I'm only going to count 3 because 3 of the layers I'm just going to fuse together because they only have 1 entry on each of them because I was too lazy and couldn't think of any other ones. So let's get on to the Fanboy and Chum Chum Iceberg. So this is the Fanboy and Chum Chum Iceberg I made. Not much to say, so let's just jump right into it. Brain Freeze was originally DVD exclusive. This is referring to one of the episodes of Fanboy and Chum Chum named Brain Freeze. This episode is a parody of the movie The Hangover, where basically after Fanboy and Chum Chum get a brain freeze from drinking too many frosty freezy freezes, they wake up the next day and realize that they're missing their underwear. So they go around town asking people what happened that night to find their underwear. Anyways, this is referring to the fact that this episode was originally only a DVD exclusive episode. However, later on, whenever reruns came around and the show was already over, they started airing it on live TV. Merch. This entry is referring to the numerous amount of Fanboy and Chum Chum merchandise, which is quite astounding considering how long the show ran. Not counting fan-made stuff, as far as I can tell, there are 4 plushes, 4 action figures. No, not 4, 6, if you count Fanboy and Chum Chum's extra large figures, and also a wave of mini figures, and much more. It's pretty crazy to me, considering, like I said, the show only ran for 2 seasons. Richie Linton packet? I don't know if I'm pronouncing this one correctly. Due to the fact that I can't pronounce his name, his last name, correctly, I'm just gonna call him Richie. Anyways, Richie is a newspaper boy, later on in the show. His first appearance is in an episode wherever he's trying to get Fanboy and Chum Chum to buy quote-unquote candy because he needs the money to help his family buy, I think, a floor for their kitchen or something. I didn't pay much attention. Anyways, the reason why he's on the iceberg is mainly for 2 reasons. 1, he's the only character to ever see Fanboy and Chum Chum without their masks on, which we'll get to later. And 2, there is a theory that he's related to Kyle in some way, based on the fact that they look very similar. He basically just looks like Kyle, but smaller and wearing different clothes. Oh, and British. But I don't think that really involves his looks, but whatever. Fanboy and Chum Chum are never seen without their masks. This is referring to the fact that in the show, Fanboy and Chum Chum are never seen without their masks on. Well, at least for in this scene on screen, where they take off their masks. However, we can only see the back of their heads. After all, that's what the mask is. Now that I did my funny XD joke, it's time to move on to the next layers. Now, before we get back to the iceberg, I would like to thank today's sponsor, who I'm being paid, $1 to sponsor. His name is Deadly Mouse. He's made such classic videos like a glitch in Gorilla Tag when I was Brick Monkey in lobby. This is a fantastic video. I recommend that you all watch it. If you don't watch this video, then we can't be friends. He also makes Iceberg videos, but like none of them are going to compare to this masterpiece of a video. So thanks Deadly Mouse for sponsoring me and giving me money. And back to the Iceberg. But awesome. This is referring to a very popular Fanboy and Chum Chum meme, which is, in my opinion, the reason why Fanboy and Chum Chum has come back into the public eye. This meme originated with people just taking scenes from the show and then putting text that said, for example, say they're eating lunch or something. The text would say something like, lunch but awesome. Then they took it a step further by editing photos, for example, of Fanboy and Chum Chum to be, I don't know, Sonic and Tails, and calling it Sonic but awesome. And then eventually they would take these edited images a step further and would make full-length YouTube videos with them by taking the Fanboy and Chum Chum theme song and remixing it to be, for example, what if Fanboy and Chum Chum are edited to be Mario and Luigi? It would be remixed to a Mario song. Anyways, although the meme has died down, I still see a ton of these remix songs, so it's kind of alive, but not really. Super Brawl 1 and 2. This entry is referring to the Nickelodeon Super Brawl games. These games started out with the simple game known as Nick Smash Fest, which is basically a smaller scale flash game, kind of like Super Smash Brothers, but with Nickelodeon characters like SpongeBob, Timmy Turner, and Otis from Barnyard. Now that you've gotten a bit of background on the series' origins, let me get into the games it is referring to. The two games that came after this were Super Brawl and Super Brawl 2. The reason why these are on the Iceberg is because Super Brawl 1, which is more like Street Fighter compared to Super Smash Brothers, kept the original characters from the last game, such as Otis and SpongeBob. However, it added some new characters. One of those new characters was Fanboy from Fanboy and Chum Chum. As for Super Brawl 2, it added in new characters like Plankton, and it kept in old characters like Fanboy. It also added in Chum Chum and Kyle. Sadly, Fanboy and Chum Chum characters haven't returned in any of the games since Super Brawl 2. Milkweed Academy. This is referring to the prestigious academy made for only wizards that Kyle used to go to before he was kicked out for turning one of his teachers, Mr. Flannelgan, into a flannel, and was then forced to go to Fanboy and Chum Chum's public school. The only other notable things about Milkweed Academy is that there's a well-known fan fiction about it, which I'm not going to get into for reasons. Anyways, the only other notable thing is the fact that throughout the series, Kyle constantly tries to get re-admitted, but they always tell him no. Now that's it for all three of those layers that I just fused together to make one slightly big layer. Like I'm talking like Five Nights at Freddy's Deadly Mouse Iceberg layer size. Anyways, on to the abyss. Hey, before we start the layer, can I just mention that please don't be stupid like me, and if you want to use this music, don't use it in the middle of the dark night. at 2 a.m. in the dark, because this led to me looking over my shoulder every minute because of how unnerved I was because of this music. Anyways, on to the layer. Fanboy and Chum Chum are autistic. This is a common theory that a lot of TV shows get, mostly with kid main characters. The theories kind of go like this. Insert character, usually the main character, has insert, mental disability or something like that. Let me give you some examples. Caillou has cancer, Clarence has ADHD, and one of my personal favorites, Steven Universe, is Sans from Undertale. Anyways, this theory Okay, I'm not cutting that part out, by the way. This theory I did it again. Oh my god. Anyways, this theory proposes. Yeah, I did it finally. Anyways, that Fanboy and Chum Chum are autistic. I don't really have anything to add to this. They kind of act like that, but not really. Frosty Freezy Freezes are drugs/alcohol. This is referring to two very common similar theories. These theories are that the slushy, slurpy, whatever you want to call them, drinks that Fanboy and Chum Chum drink called Frosty Freezy Freezes have drugs in them. The other theory is that they have alcoholic beverages in them. Anyways, the supporting things for these theories are the drugs one, mostly supporting to the kind of psychedelic stuff that happens after they drink them. For example, the brain freeze segment in the theme song. As for alcohol, you can easily point to the fact that Fanboy and Chum Chum, once they drink too many of them in the episode Brain Freeze, have a hangover. However, this is just a theory. Parents. This entry is referring to the lack of parents, to be exact, adults in general in the TV show. Kind of like Ed and Eddie, there are almost no adults anywhere. The only adults are the teachers and stuff like that. This leads a lot of people to question, well, where are they? Because the only adults we ever see in the show are Oz, his mom, and the school staff. Come to think of it, we never see any of the characters' parents either. And the only people to ever reference parents are obviously Oz, because his mom is a main focal point of all of his episodes, and Yo, who one time out of the blue mentioned her mom. But other than that, parents are almost never talked about. Lenny and Boog's original designs. This is the last entry on the Iceberg. Anyways, this is referring to the fact that Lenny and Boog both have weird prototype designs. Whenever the show, before the pilot was even made, both Lenny and Boog had these creepy prototype looking designs, with Boog looking like this big fat mean guy, and Lenny, he kind of looked like a stick bug. Boog's design would then be finalized by the time the show got greenlit. However, whenever the pilot came around, Lenny appeared in it, but he had a completely different design. He kind of looked like Lenny from today, but not as skinny, white, with freckles, and he was a redhead. So, that's quite a difference. Also, the Frosty Freezy Freeze hat he wears is a yellow Frosty Freezy Freeze, which isn't even a real flavor. Anyways, I'm super glad they changed his design because it looks abhorrent in this pilot, and I'm so glad he only appears for a couple of seconds. Well, this has been the Fanboy and Chum Chum Iceberg, and, well, I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to comment down below other Iceberg ideas you want to see, and I might do it. Bye.